Hey YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Today the million-dollar question is, why do we here in Europe put our photos on our CVs or resumes when applying to a job? And do you guys think this is a good or bad idea? This is the question that I posed to my followers both on Twitter and on Instagram, and I got back some pretty interesting responses. Lo and behold, the majority of responses on both platforms was that no, people don't think it's a good idea, but we do them anyways. They would say that it is a requirement when sending out a CV in Europe. You have to put your photo on the CV. I can confirm that it's definitely not a requirement. It's not a legal requirement because I myself never put my photo on my CV for various reasons, and I've also never been unemployed. So clearly, it's not a strict requirement if there are people like me and my friends who don't put our fit pictures on our CVs who still work. So it's not a requirement, but apparently a lot of people think that it is. They don't think it's a good idea, but they do it anyways because everybody else does. And so the conversation was really interesting because, of course, not everybody agreed with me. It's obvious. There will never be a time where everybody agrees with you, but this is good because even the people that didn't agree with me, like, some of them made some interesting points that I wouldn't have thought about before, and it makes you see how every situation isn't black or white, yes or no, and it's always useful to let yourself see a different perspective. And so I thought it was really interesting. I thought I got a lot out of the conversation myself, and I wanted to bring it to a larger platform here on my YouTube channel. So do you guys think it is a good idea? Let me know in the comment section down below. Me personally, I don't think it's a good idea. In America, you don't do it. It's not something that when you're learning how to construct a CV, it's not even thought of to be a part of the CV. And I think it's for the obvious reason that it opens yourself up to discrimination, and America being a place where discrimination of any kind is rampant and proven. I mean, there are studies that show in America that if you have a more ethnic sounding name or a name that might describe your social class, you are going to be less likely to be called back for an interview. People are even discriminated against by their name in America, and people know this. And so in my head, even when I came to Europe and I saw that people were doing it, I never thought it was it's kind of like, I don't know if I'm really going to get into that. And I mean, there was a small period in university where I was using my CV to apply to university associations and to apply to internships while I was in university. And honestly, I never got calls back for the internships that I applied to during my university, and I gave that CV. And I was only doing it because the template of the university included this photo. So I said, why not? Let me try and do it. But I never really saw much success with it, especially once I was getting closer to graduation. I, at a certain point, took my photo off because I didn't really think that it was relevant. It took up space on my CV. Like, if you have to put your photo on that at a point in your CV, that's space on your CV that you can't use to put something actually relevant, like a job experience. And so I never really put it, and I've always thought that that was one way you could open yourself up to discrimination. Honestly, you can open up yourself to discrimination in any way. Some people here in Italy put their age. I saw a lot of people put their nationality. I do put my nationality for the exact fact that I said. I think that humans are prejudiced people. I mean, we all have prejudice. You have prejudice. I have prejudice. It can be conscious. You can be an active racist and hate people that are different from you. And it can also be subconscious as well. You might not even be thinking about it, but we are conditioned to have preconceptions about people. It's just the way things are. And so, of course, when I'm handing out my CV, want to mitigate any type of prejudice that could come my way. I don't put my picture because, I don't know, maybe the person won't want to hire me because I'm black. Maybe the person won't think I'm good enough for the job because I'm a woman. Maybe the person won't want to hire me because they'll think because I care a lot about my aesthetics, maybe I'm not smart enough. You know, she cares about her looks, so maybe she's not smart. People could draw a million different conclusions based off just the appearance. So by not putting my picture, I already protect myself from those subconscious biases. I do put my nationality. It's the only piece of superfluous information that I put on my CV. I don't put my birth date. I don't put my gender. I don't put whether or not I have kids. I don't put whether or not I'm dating somebody. I don't put any of that on my CV. I do put my nationality because I can't hide my name. My name is that. My name is a long Yoruba African name, and I can't hide it, and I don't want to hide it. But I know that being in Italy in 2019, there are preconceived conceptions about Nigerians and people of Nigerian descent. So in order to kind of, I don't even want to say mitigate the prejudice that could come up with my name, I also put my nationality is American, because maybe the, oh my God, American will outweigh the, oh, Nigerian, you know? So I do that. Us as young people looking for jobs, try to put ourselves in the most attractive positions to be able to get the jobs. And that's what I believe, and I do. I don't think that from an employer's perspective, it's a good idea to ask for photos. I really can't think of any jobs where your looks are that important, aside from like model or actress, where you're not handing in CVs, you're handing like a portfolio or a comp card. I don't see where your looks would play into it. If you're looking for somebody that is like put together and well-dressed, that's different from just, you know, a photo of their face on a CV, which is what you're asking for. And also, some people were saying that they were looking for people with like a bella presenza, and some people that have direct contacts with clients and the public should look good. And I just want to know what people mean by should look good, because me personally, I don't know what ugly is. I really don't know, because there are big grown men on RuPaul's Drag Race that can use a little bit of makeup and look more womanly than me. So for me, ugly doesn't exist. Like, you could always change your appearance to be more acceptable. And I don't know. I mean, what is conventional beauty? I don't think I'm conventionally beautiful, but I know how to like do my hair and my makeup and present myself in a way that I don't think that I would be seen as ugly. You know, I just, the whole concept of beautiful and ugly baffles me. And even the fact that it's so subjective, again, I would ask, why put it on the CV picture? And some people counter-argued saying, well, okay, if somebody is really that discriminatory, it doesn't matter if you put your picture on the CV or not. They're going to discriminate against you once you get into the interview. So why not waste everybody's time? And it's because of what I was saying before about the subconscious and conscious biases. Like, people might not even know that they're biased. They'll just be looking through all the names on the CVs and pick somebody completely arbitrarily without truly thinking and processing the information while they're looking at a CV. I think that's much harder to do when you see somebody in person, when you hear somebody speak, when you hear somebody explain. I feel like it's much harder to have those same subconscious biases when you're speaking to somebody in person. I think once you're in person, yeah, if somebody is overtly racist, they're gonna throw you out the door. But most people aren't overtly anything. It's more of a subconscious thing that we can all just mitigate by not putting our photos on our CV. If I could have it my way, I wouldn't even have names on the CV for the exact reason that I told you guys, because the names can still evoke some subconscious prejudices. I would have applicant 1, applicant 2, but I think that we're not quite there yet. Somebody did say to me though, okay, so you put on that you're American to mitigate the issue of your name, so why can't somebody who's beautiful or thinks that their looks will help them get a job put their photo on the CV? And I said, you know what? Touche, you're right. Do you? I mean, if you feel like your physical appearance will help you get the job, hell yeah, get your coin, do it. I'm totally not against that. I'm not talking about it from an applicant's perspective. From the applicant's perspective, I feel like we understand the world and we have to do everything that we can to get that job and to get ourselves in the position that we want to. So just like I'm doing what I'm doing to make myself seem like the best applicant possible and mitigate any prejudices, heck yeah, if you have like any advantages. If you think that you're going to be prejudiced because of your picture, don't put it. And if you think that you will be helped by putting your picture, put it, because it's not required, as I've already said. Personally, in the jobs that I was always looking towards, so like marketing, consulting, business strategy, cose così, I never saw anybody explicitly ask for CV with photo. And even if somebody did ask for CV with photo, I probably wouldn't have applied because I, as an applicant, would have preconceptions about the company. I'd say, well, if this is the kind of criteria that they're judging on, then I don't want to work there and I'm not sending my CV. So it's interesting. Another interesting point was I did get some people that live in like the US and the UK where we have a completely different selection process that raised the issue to me, and they're like, yeah, okay, in US they don't ask you for your photo, but they do ask you for your race, they ask for your religion, they ask for your sexual orientation, they ask other questions. And I don't agree with it in principle because I do think it's a double standard. I do think that that would lead to discrimination of a different type. But at the end of the day, I agree with the FINE. I agree with what they're trying to do. The reason why they ask for somebody's race isn't because they're not going to hire black people or they're not going to hire people of a certain race because they'll get sued for that. The reason they ask is because there are certain incentives to hiring a diverse workforce. I wish that people could just recognize the empirical evidence that proves that having a diverse workforce helps the value of a company. It helps profitability. It helps. I wish that people could understand these incentives and didn't need the other incentives that the American government might put through to encourage a diverse workforce. I wish that people could just know that it actually helps your business being diverse for multiple reasons that I've touched on multiple occasions. But I do agree with the end result. I do agree with the end result, which should be having a workforce that respects better the population of the people and or the market that you're trying to reach. The reason why I push so much for like diversity in Italy, when I talk about diversity in Italy, I'm not really talking about the majority of Italian companies, which are like small, medium enterprises with old school Italian clientele in an Italian market. I'm not really talking about them, and they're gonna hire the people that are in their town and that they want to, and that's completely different. I'm talking about the companies where I work and I interact with, which are huge multinational companies with multinational markets. I get confused when there are companies that are Italian or in Italy and their main market isn't Italy, but say it's China, and you don't have any Chinese people in your workforce. And that's an issue because, as you can see, you not being Chinese, you miss some things that might be important in your market. You miss things that maybe a Chinese person would find a certain thing offensive. Maybe a Chinese person would find a certain thing cool. Maybe a Chinese person needs a different type of communication that you wouldn't be able to get to because you're not Chinese. And so maybe it would be useful to have a Chinese person in the workforce. This is what I'm talking about when I say that diversity can be a plus for businesses, and it's actually been empirically proven. I'll try to leave some of the studies in the description box below, but I studied them in university. In organizational theory, diversity helps companies, and companies make more money when they have a more diverse workforce. And I'm not talking just about race, but I'm talking on nationality, I'm talking about gender, I'm talking about sexuality. If you think about it, the fact that there are so many makeup companies and cosmetic companies where their main target is a female target, and you look on boards and there are no females. Or there are people selling feminine hygiene products, but there are no females. And then you wonder why a lot of feminine hygiene products actually suck. Like these kinds of things. This is why diversity is a plus. You shouldn't need a tax break to tell you that diversity would help your workforce and would be a plus for you, but whatever. To answer the point, I agree with the fact that even the American system is also discriminatory, but I think that the end goal is more what I want. I don't know how me adding my picture and you being able to judge me based on my appearance, I don't know how that would be very helpful. But these are just my thoughts. These are just my opinions. I would love to hear your guys' opinions down in the comments below because, like I said, it was a really interesting topic, and a lot of people wrote to me saying like they never even questioned it before, but now that I talked about it, it gave them something to think about it. And like I said, I already have my opinion. I already have the way I think about it, but it was interesting hearing the thoughts of people that didn't really see it 100% the way I saw it, so that I could think about it in a different way as well. So yeah, like I said, I would love to hear your guys' comments down in the comment section down below. How many times did I say the word comment? Remember to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, you guys, I will see you in my next one. Mwah.